keep our schedule on time. You will also be given an opportunity to rebut if that is necessary. So with that, let's start with District 1. I'd like to have Dan Kalb introduce himself from District 1. And if Dan Kalb is not on, let's have Steph introduce herself. Steph Watson.
Steph Dominguez Walton. It is a pleasure to be here. I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Here I go. Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to be here with you tonight, Souls to the Polls. I love the name. I'm excited to be among you. My name is Steph Dominguez Walton, and I am running for City Council because the status quo is not meeting the moment. City Council members are supposed to work closer to their constituents than any other elected officials. They do that by listening and responding to you. If you call me, I will call you back. I'm a 15-year Oakland resident, a proud mother of 2, and a successful businesswoman. If elected, I will be the first Latina to ever sit on the Oakland City Council. We are in the middle of an acute housing crisis. Our unhoused population has increased by almost 50% in the last 2 years, and this was before the pandemic. If the status quo couldn't get it done over the last 8 years, I wonder if they can get it done now. We need leaders who can take action, not just write plans. As a volunteer, I organized the community and created a supper program for Piedmont Avenue Elementary when I discovered kids were going home hungry right here in District 1. The school reinstated the program, and now it is funded district-wide. Imagine what I could do as your city council member. We need leadership that's creative, decisive, and responsive on the city council. And that's why I'm running, and that's why I'd love to have your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie. And next we have Tree Nyo.
That was close. Try no.
Try no. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Is it Maisha? Is that right? Or Miesha?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for having me on Souls to the Polls. I appreciate you guys organizing this, and I'm supportive of your efforts to make Oakland a great place for all of our residents. Again, my name is Tringo. I'm running for District 1 City Council. I'm committed to creating a local government that includes every single voice. I believe that we can't make a change without including more people in the political process. And I'm committed to being responsive. I'm committed to facilitating leadership in the community, engagement from the community, so that we apply political pressure to City Hall to actually make a difference. My focuses are on solving homelessness, ensuring Oakland remains a diverse community by creating affordable housing, as well as reimagining public safety to address the root causes of violence in our communities. My background is very different from the other candidates. I was born in a refugee camp on the border of Thailand and Cambodia. I came to the US when I was 2, grew up in inner city Philadelphia, partly on welfare, and went to public schools all of my life. Eventually moved to Atlanta, where I grew up in diverse communities there, and got a degree from MIT in electrical engineering and a PhD from Johns Hopkins in biomedical engineering. And then I came to work at Tesla, which brought me to the Bay. And I love Oakland. Oakland is exactly where I need to be. Oakland is a diverse community, but over the past 4 years, I've seen it change so much, and I've decided to take responsibility for that and to offer myself as a servant to the people, and to address the root cause of the problems we see, which is of an ineffective government, which is lack of participation from the people. And I would love your support. I would love your votes, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Tree. And we'll move to District 3 if Dan Kalb is not on. So let's move to District 3. And so let's have Lynette McElhaney introduce herself.
Hi, Maisha. I'm still trying to log on through the laptop and get the account information together. So you can.
Dan Kolb said he's in Patrice Waugh's waiting room and
So
can't log in.
I believe he's on the wrong Zoom.
If you guys can go ahead and begin with Carol. I'm going to try to log on through my iPad now.
Okay. Carol Fife, do you mind go ahead and introducing yourself?
Oh, sure. Is that accurate though? I hate to jump order and have to go back. I don't mind. I don't know. Why am I in two rooms? Who's Devon Alexander? What's happening?
So would you like us to go to at large and then we'll come back to District 3? Because I can see you and hear you.
Yeah, I just was wondering why my camera was, there were two of me. Why am I looking at two of myself? But that's not a problem.
Okay.
I can go. I have no problem.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here with you all today. My name is Carol Fife. I am the director of the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment. We are a grassroots member-led community organization with over 15,000 members throughout the state of California. And I'm the director for Oakland and San Francisco. But I'm also the child of a Baptist education. I went to a Baptist school from the age of 4 to 14. And one of the things that keeps coming up for me throughout this race and why I'm running is Corinthians 13, 1 Corinthians 13, which says, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become a sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. And that to me embodies everything that's happening in our city right now. If we don't have love for our people, love for our community, love for the things that really make up what equity and justice is truly about, then we will lose collectively. And I see a lack of ability of our communities to get ahead because we are not connected and we are not organizing and we are not working together. And we could do so much better. There's some networks that exist and some people who are doing things, but we could have so much more. And I watch Faith in Action. It was OCO, but it's predominantly a faith-based organizing group that is predominantly Latino. And they do amazing things because they not only come together under the service of what they truly believe in their Lord and Savior, but they also organize politically. I want to see that type of organizing in the faith community for Black people, because that is something that we are lacking. We are the majority of the people that experience every negative indicator in this city, and we helped build it. So I want to come together. I want to continue to be an organizer and help this community as well as my entire city and District 3 become the powerhouse that we can be, particularly in these challenging times. And I appreciate being with you all today.
Thank you. And so, Lynette, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you all for your patience. I am Lynette Gibson McElhaney. It has been my honor and privilege to serve this community over the past 7 years as the elected representative of District 3. And when I came into this office, when I ran 8 years ago, it was the faith community that gave me my wings and gave me my purpose and solidified what we would be doing together. Now, you all know that change in this dynamic of this city has been very difficult, but we've done a lot of good work. And the faith community has been at the forefront of this work, not just in the last 4 years or 5 years. And we will not say that you all have failed simply because the injustice in the broader economic system continues to outpace our gain. But I look to churches like Center of Hope that has led on education reform, as well as housing and housing the unhoused and feeding people, food security. We've had that in Beth Eden. We've had this going back for many, many decades. And so the fact that we are doing good work and injustice continues to persist, is not an indication of our failure, nor is it an indication that we do not know how to come together. Black organizing has led this nation in its quest for justice, and I'm delighted to be heir and recipient to the great causes in this town. What's in front of us now, more than anything, is as we lift up on our successes of the past, is to respond to the crisis of now. COVID-19 has laid bare all of the disinvestment over the last 30 years as regressionists have beat back civil rights and civil liberties gains, largely led by the Black church and Black activism. We are now at position with Propositions 15 and 16 to roll back devastating cuts in those areas that happened under Propositions 13 and 209. And those of you who have read American Babylon know the Oakland story as part of the California story. I am delighted to be endorsed by many members of the faith, workers throughout this community, so that we can continue the good work that we've begun on racial justice, on police accountability, on divesting from policing and investing in the Department of Violence Prevention, on homelessness. We have worked 7 years to put together a great framework, and now's the time to double down on those efforts, not to abandon them, to start all over again new with folks who we do not know, funded by interests that are not ours.
Thank you. And I think Dan Kalb is on. So I'd like to give him an opportunity to introduce himself.
Thanks. I must have been given the wrong link, but now someone just sent it to me, so now I'm here. Sorry, I'm late. Where are we now in the process? Am I giving my introductory 2 minutes, or the answer to the first question?
This introduction. We're right at introduction.
Okay, is that including the question that you asked about the Black agenda, or is that separate?
No, just introduction.
Okay, and that's how long? 1 minute? 1 minute? 2 minutes?
Yes. Just about 1 minute. 1 to 2 minutes is fine.
Okay, all right, thank you. So sorry for being late. I tried to get on earlier. Thanks so much for having me, really appreciate it. My name is Dan Kalb, obviously the incumbent running in District 1, and I've worked very hard over the past almost 8 years trying to solve the biggest challenges we have here. I'm proud of my record. Before I was a city council member, I worked as a public interest advocate, a social justice activist, and I didn't stop being that after I got elected. And so I took things by the rein, took big issues, tried to figure out how to create ideas into policy, into legislation, and actually put them into law. And I had a lot of success doing that, whether it's on police reform, police accountability, affordable housing, protecting our renters from displacement, ethics in government, environmental justice, you name it. I've been involved in a detailed level in trying to help resolve the challenges, issues we face in Oakland. And I'm proud of the work I've done, but there's more work to do. And I want to continue that work ahead, whether it's job training, protecting our renters, affordable housing. There's so much to do. And I want to continue that effort for the next 4 years. And I hope you'll give me a chance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. And I appreciate that introduction. Next, we're going to at-large candidates, and we have Derek Johnson.
Well, hello. Good evening, everybody. And to my pastors, Brandon and Maria Reams, first and foremost, glory be to God. And please send Bishop my regards. You know, she's dear to my heart. She is the main reason why I switched from the Catholic Church over to Center of Hope. And I'm just very honored to be here tonight. These are uniquely challenging times. People are scared, people are out of work, sick and dying. At the same time, we've been given this historic chance to finally get closer to our goal and achieve true racial and social justice for all. I'm running for Oakland City Council at large because I believe this unique moment demands a different kind of leader. I believe we need a council member at large who understands the struggles of the most vulnerable in our community, has a proven ability to transform lives for those who need it most, and who's ready to help Oakland's recovery and then tackle the many challenges that have faced our community for far too long. Excuse me. I was raised in the Acorn Housing Projects in West Oakland by a single mom who worked 3 jobs so I can make it. I saw people rise from poverty and make it in the most inspiring ways and fall in the most tragic. Thanks to a strong extended family, I was able to go to college and attend to HBCU, Fisk University. Then I came back to my hometown, eager to make a difference for the community that made me who were formerly incarcerated, folks who nobody had given a chance, even a second chance to, let alone a first. I find nothing more rewarding and inspiring than helping someone turn their life around. I've also served Oakland from many perspectives, helping nonprofits, foundations, and the city itself reduce violence, implement job training programs, and provide educational opportunities for low-income youth. I was honored to receive the city's Humanitarian Award for this work. I'm honored to be endorsed by hopefully our next Vice President, Senator Kamala Harris, our homegirl, Assembly Buffy Wicks, Mayor Libby Schaaf, State Board of Equalization Malia Cohen, Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs, BART Board President Latifah Simon, Pastor Maria and Brandon Reams, and many other faith-based leaders throughout the country, throughout the city. And I'm very excited to announce that Mayor London Breed has endorsed my campaign as well. And thank you so much for having me here tonight. Hello?
I can hear you, Derek. I don't, can you hear me?
Thank you. So with no further ado, we'll go to the next question, which is, or the first question actually, which is question 1. And then just a reminder, it's 2 minutes for each question on average. And if you go over, we'll give you about 5 to 10 seconds and then we'll mute and go to the next candidate. So we'll start back in the beginning with District 1. And we will start with a tree for the first question, and I'll put that up on the screen. The first question is, what is your faith-based agenda? If elected, what will you do in the first 100 days to address the devastating impact of COVID-19 on the faith-based community in Oakland?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for your question. It's try, by the way, but it's a common mistake. Thank you. COVID-19 has demonstrated that our communities continue to be divided along racial lines. The health outcomes for many of our Black and Brown members are not as good. And I am committed to taking a look at the data and figuring out what are the root causes of these discrepancies. Oftentimes, healthy food is not available. Oftentimes, healthy outdoor areas, safe outdoor areas are not available. And we need to look at the data and prioritize assistance, monetary as well as administrative assistance to communities that need it most. Also, small businesses have been greatly impacted. And again, coming from an equity lens, we know that smaller businesses, many of whom are owned by minority members, suffer more than larger businesses. And I would look to help them reopen as quickly as safely possible. And again, prioritize assistance to those who need it most. Along those lines, I support the Flex Streets program. I think we should continue that. And I want to collaborate with churches, with the faith-based community. We need to listen first and foremost to what's occurring out, in the community, and facilitate leadership from nonprofits in the community, and get out of their way when they want to help. And I'm committed to being a partner in solving the issues that COVID-19 has brought up.
Thank you. And that's tree, right?
It's try.
Try. Okay, try. Thank you, try. Stephanie?
Thanks, Aisha. Everybody hear me okay? COVID-19 has shined a light on the racial inequity that the Black community suffers in Oakland. Over the last 30 weeks, I have been delivering food to food insecure families within the Oakland Unified School District. And the first 2 months of COVID, I got to see firsthand what no resources in education looks like from the perspective of a family that's struggling not only to keep a roof over their head during a pandemic where many of them lost jobs, but what's it like to try to educate your child without internet service or a device through which they can learn. We need to, as an elected official, I would work closely with the faith-based community for guidance and to find out how we can collaborate, pool resources, because we're going to be operating from a huge budget deficit. We're going to need to go outside of the city and ask for philanthropic donations. That was how the Grab and Go program was funded in the first place through this pandemic. We went outside of the city for funding. I'm working right now with a radio group to try to fund a nonprofit food provider so that we can get food to our food insecure seniors and people who are living on the streets. It's about taking a look at the inequities that have been disproportionately affecting the Black community for generations and finding a way to work together to overcome them. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And Dan?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you for that question. First, of course, I would want to meet with, as I have on a case-by-case basis, meet with pastors and all clergy throughout North Oakland and beyond and talk with them. They know better their congregation than I do. And I want to meet with them in groups or one-on-one and say, okay, what do you need now and what will you need 3 months from now? And if their answer is something that the city can provide or the city could help provide, then that's what we should be doing. I've talked with a few clergy over the past several months, excuse me, but there are of course many more. Even in North Oakland, there are many more, and so I will continue to do that and try to step up those efforts. Excuse me, sorry. One thing I have done is I got money into our budget, got money redirected into our budget to help our small businesses and nonprofits renegotiate their rents through a mediation program with their commercial property landlords. Some have done it on their own, and that's great. Others need assistance and a nudge, and we're going to be helping them the best we can. So that's something I'm very proud of, and that's already underway now. Food programs, I volunteered at some of the food programs, Meals on Wheels, the OUSD one, the City of Oakland one, and I've got my staff to do as well, and that's great. And we should always be encouraging other people to volunteer the best they can. Volunteering is a core part of who we are as a people, and I've been volunteering all my entire adult life, and I will continue to do that. But most importantly, I could be most helpful in getting other people to volunteer, and that's what I will continue doing as well. There's much we need to do to help our residents, including the African American community, of course. I'm working on a range of things over the past number of years and going forward, given that we are now in a recession, and will be coming in this recession for a little while now. I think now more than ever, we need additional efforts in job training, job placement, not just job training, but job placement. That's a key. And that has to be a stepped up focus for us on the council as well. So a number of things I'll be working on, we'll continue to work on, and I want to meet with those who are our faith-based leaders and working with them to figure out what's the highest priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And we'll go to Derek John.
I'm not hearing Derek. Maisha, are you hearing him?
He's still muted, but he's being asked to unmute now.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, that's an excellent question. What I would do is what I've always done, and I'll continue to do it even on a larger level. You know, most programs and activities like I did partnering with the Center of Hope Church and the restaurant boxes to the community of those that were definitely in need. I believe it was August the 8th or August the 5th of this past year. I would enhance that. I would encourage that. I would get with Pastor Maria Reams and definitely ask her to reach out and have some kind of forums and go down here throughout the city and talk to young women about sex exploitation and really, really get into the weeds of it and tell these young ladies that there's another path. I deal with that on a daily basis. The hotel that the restaurant sits under is just, I mean, I see it every day. I would also continue to work with, just keep doing the Christian work that we do, going up to juvenile hall, talking to young brothers and sisters, especially the young Black men, about a different way of living. I would increase civic engagement, cultivate the next generation of Black leaders by appointing Black community members to our city, county, professional, and nonprofit boards. That's extremely important. Why I decided to run, because there was nobody groomed to do this. You know, we need to groom the next generation behind us to fill these seats. I'd hold our elected officials accountable, those who are Black and those who aren't, and not just at election time. Everybody comes around and all the elected officials, you know, I'm new to this, as everybody knows, this is my first time running, I'm not a politician, but you see them during election time, 4 or 5 months before it's time to go to the polls. But where are they all during these other times, the whole 4 years they're in office? You should be accountable. You should be engaged in the community. And most importantly, what disturbs me is the amount of brothers and sisters that are not registered to vote is unbelievable. So I would definitely do voter registration drives to emphasize those who in the most undeserved communities to choose their own political leaders and build their own power. Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Let's go to Lynette McElhaney. And just to remind candidates, we want to keep this up at 2 minutes.
Thank you for the question. It is, as Derek said, a marvelous question. The faith-based community has not always been really well respected in Oakland politics. Oakland politics tends to be very secular. And in fact, when the faith community united to endorse my campaign in 2012, they did so in a transformative way that shifted the respect for the faith community, and I think engaged us in a different level of power. My first 100 days will not be decisively different over how I've governed over the last 7 years, which is to respect the leadership and the talent that is within our faith community and to honor it. Quarterly, I meet with faith leaders and my faith leaders table where I listen to their concerns, but I also regularly stay in touch with ICAC, with Bay Cities, with pastors of Oakland, coming at any time that I'm requested and working with those groups on the priorities that they've defined. We've made sure that faith leaders and their designees, people coming from the congregations, have had appointments to our commissions, serving on our Safety and Services Oversight Commission, serving on our Senior Services Commission, serving on the Police Accountability Commission, just being involved wherever they have defined it. This city would not exist in the way that it has without the active and ongoing support, financial and volunteer support of our faith community. COVID-19 has been no different. When the pandemic first hit, we were working directly with our congregations in East and West Oakland, myself and members of the Equity Caucus, Councilmember Gallo, Lauren Taylor, and Vice Mayor Reed, to stand up testing sites in West Oakland, in East Oakland, working with Allen Temple, working with Taylor Memorial, working with the churches that wanted to step forward and provide both access to information, resources of the churches. It was at the McElhaney Faith Leaders table that we defined the safe parking program that Pastor Ken Chambers took off with and then took to ICAC and got funded through the county. This is the kind of innovation and partnership that has allowed this community to continue to persist now. And it's what's going to take it as we look into the recovery. The faith community is also businesses. It's our developments. It's our barbers. It's not just the institution of the church. And it has been my pleasure to make sure that that door is open and the conversation has been two-way and consistent, whether that's saving buildings as we did with Overcomers.
Thank you, Lynette. Carol?
Yes, I think it's important to be honest about the times that we're living in right now. And I am not here to make people feel good about our conditions. I'm here to offer the proper analysis and work with everyone on the proper analysis so we can come up with a proper course of action. Right now, Black people in Oakland are not doing well. So whatever the churches have been doing, whatever I've been doing in my organization as a director is not enough. We are the only racial demographic group in this city that is shrinking and shrinking quickly. So what I want to do is address the needs of our members, of our residents. Your parishioners are my members. The people who are members of my organizations go to your churches, and the churches are becoming more and more empty. People are not able to pay tithes because they can't pay rent. They can't afford to live here. So they end up being displaced and moved out because they cannot maintain their existence inside of Oakland. So I want to continue to the work that I've been doing, which is helping the average person just be able to be here, not just to survive, but to thrive. That's why we worked on a Black New Deal to address the public health implications of what systemic racism does to all Black people, regardless of class, regardless of how much money you make. So I want to continue to do the work to make sure that people can afford to live here, they can afford to pay their rents, they can afford to pay their mortgages, they have living wage work. We're working on a job training program in the green economy where people can rehab the vacant homes that are available so they can live here affordably. I've talked to the NAACP executive committee about starting a land trust so they can buy up property and make it affordable to people. I'm working in conjunction with other elected officials on the state and national levels, as well as a local level, to ensure that we have a jobs guarantee and a housing guarantee. So there's a lot that needs to be done, but we first have to be honest about our conditions. The Department of Race and Equity put out a report that said we scored 33.5 out of 100 on racial equity. So my support of the church is my support of Black residents, and we have to start there.
Thank you, Carol. Question 2. Our elderly are under attack in this city. Predatory property tax policies, lien policies, and predatory housing agencies cause elders to be tricked, scammed, and unhoused from property they spent years working hard to acquire. What will you do to address the predatory property tax, lien schemes, and predatory housing agencies in the city of Oakland? We'll start with Derek Johnson.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Just know I can't control my mute button. You have to send me that mute or unmute, and it lets me.
Yes, well, we have someone working with you on that. Thank you.
Okay, great. I just want to let you know. All right, well, we need to renew the urgency of housing on every level. In my 50 plus years in Oakland, I've seen too many of my family, my friends, my community priced out of Oakland, even pushed out onto the streets. We can't ignore our fellow Oaklanders living on the edge, people like a single mom who raised me, and people who I grew up with in the projects as we recover and we have to focus on. We talk about affordable housing, but what is affordable? I mean, affordable housing now, you really need to have a medium or average income of $70,000 a year. We need to build housing for those that are most at risk. We must prioritize those in the most housing insecurity and ramp up our efforts to build more affordable and deeply affordable housing. I mean, low, and below low. When I had a conversation with Mayor Breed last week, she said it took them 10 years to build an affordable housing building. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's too much bureaucracy, too much red tapes, and too much politics. We need to ensure housing. We must protect those that are barely getting by today so that they don't fall into the housing in the next time we experience a major crisis or economic downturn that puts them at risk through no fault of their own, and build new housing for Oakland families, not just rentals, but housing that individuals can purchase and sustain our families. And more importantly, look at these buildings. On parking lots, churches have a lot of land. I know the Center of Hope has done a great job with, Ernestine. And I got muted. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Stephanie?
Okay, so this is a very disturbing practice, obviously, when our seniors who have given so much to this community and who built this town would fall victim to predatory lien policies or property tax policies. I'm not sure what the authority of a city elected is over something like that, but I'm sure that we could provide education and make our seniors feel safe and secure, those who are property owners. But the other issue here is that Oakland is too expensive for many of our Black community members and our Brown community members. People are being priced out. Our Black population has plummeted in recent years. We need to make sure that we keep tenant protections in place, that we build enough affordable housing so that folks who want to live here, who have been here for generations, can stay here. That's what I would like to focus on. Land trusts are a fantastic idea to purchase affordable housing and make sure that it remains affordable in perpetuity. If we want to keep the richness that is Oakland, and we want to take care of and help lift up and allow members of the Black community to prosper and thrive here in Oakland, then that's where we need to focus our efforts. Thanks.
Thank you, Stephanie. Dan?
Hi, thank you for that question. Appreciate it very much. I will say, just to start with, I've been a strong supporter of our senior centers in Oakland. I will continue to do that, making sure that they're not shut, that they were able to stay open certainly after the COVID crisis is over. I have a history prior to being elected to office and working on consumer protection laws, mostly at the state level. And so I have some background there. I know a lot of the experts around the state who work for consumer protection efforts, and I will happily talk with them more. We need to make sure that whatever individual or personal or property owner responsibility that people have, that has to be balanced with flexibility by the government decision, by the government operator, government overseer, to make sure that those who are struggling are not thrown out of their house or fined or feed so much that they can't afford to stay there. We have to do whatever it takes. I've said this before many times, and the COVID crisis and the recession we're in has brought this up to the front burner. We have to do whatever it takes using our state, federal, city, county, where we can bring people together to forestall and stem the possibility of another foreclosure crisis. We cannot have that. That has to be one of our most important priorities here, that we cannot have the foreclosure crisis at all, certainly not what we had back in 10 years ago. That was horrendous for too many property owners, too many people, renters and property owners in our city. Stopping that is job one. Senior centers, senior housing, some of our below market housing, as we are doing already, and we're going to be doing at that dormitory I helped get through over in North Oakland for below market housing. Some of our below market housing units should be focused for seniors only 60 years and above. And we've done it before, we could do that again. So I will continue to work at all levels of government, obviously mostly at the local level, but with our state, federal, and county partners to make sure that people are not going to be leaned out or feed out of their home. That is unacceptable, and that could never happen. That foreclosure is unacceptable, and people need to take responsibility, but we have to have flexibility so people can stay in the home. Whether you're a renter or a homeowner, we need to keep people in their homes. That is job one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And just a reminder to candidates, let's make sure our responses are at 2 minutes or less. Let's go to Try.
Strength of our society is measured by how we take care of our most vulnerable, and seniors deserve our attention. I appreciate the faith-based community watching out for them. And as someone who grew up in an Asian American household, seniors and the elderly, we have the highest respect for our seniors. I would make sure that seniors have access to free legal aid. I worked myself with the East Bay Community Law Center to provide legal aid to seniors in situations where they're being scammed, and we need to continue to proactively reach out to our seniors to provide that. We need to acknowledge that seniors many of them live on a fixed income, and our policies need to reflect that difference. And having a blanket policy that is ignorant to that fact doesn't serve our seniors. Finally, I have a comprehensive policy to address the homelessness crisis. I believe that every houseless resident should be provided at least 2 years in a at least a supported encampment that has infrastructure, trash pickup, internet access, and social services. But for seniors, I believe that they should be expedited and prioritized to be put in permanent housing. And so we need to be creative and efficient with our existing tax dollars and ensure that our seniors are treated with dignity for all they've given to our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Try. And I just saw Rebecca Kaplan enter the meeting. So if Rebecca Kaplan can introduce herself and respond to question 2. Just a reminder, we're keeping responses between 3 to 2 minutes.
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Hi there. Good evening, everybody. This is Rebecca Kaplan, honored to serve as your council member at large, representing the entire city of Oakland. And thank you so much for having me here tonight. Yes, it is absolutely essential that we take action to protect our seniors, many of whom have worked hard for a long time and deserve to be able to have a healthy retirement. That's part of why we've fought for senior discounts and exemptions in local taxes. And most recently, recognizing that a lot of our seniors are some of our small landlords and our small property owners, I propose that we should change the tax rate for our small landlords to be lower so that they would be more protected and less in danger of losing their property. We've also passed a law to make it easier to add accessory dwelling units so that people in our community can have that extra unit that can bring in some income or as a place for a caregiver to live. In addition to making sure our seniors' properties are protected, we also recognize the importance of pedestrian safety for our seniors, putting in better crosswalks and safety. And also we fought for an expansion of funding for Meals on Wheels and for our senior centers to be able to do a better job with our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Carol?
Could you repeat the question for me?
Sure. Our elderly community are under attack in the city. Predatory property tax policies, lien policies, and predatory housing agencies cause elders to be tricked, scammed, and unhoused from property they spent years working hard to acquire. What will you do to address the predatory property tax, lien schemes, and predatory housing agencies in the city of Oakland?
Thank you for the question. I think this is one of the areas that my organization has spent decades working inside of. And unfortunately, as long as we have the systems of economy that we have, particularly one that makes housing and these other things like a commodity, then we're going to have people who are predatory. Right now, we are supporting Lloyd Cannemore. I don't know if you all have heard about the Warriors House. It's the house in West Oakland that's painted gold and blue. Lloyd's mother was a senior with hearing disability and some other medical issues that created her as this target for a predatory mortgage. So she got a reverse mortgage by folks who pretty much forced it on her. And now the house is facing foreclosure, and her son, who's also a senior, is potentially going to live on the streets. So I, with my organization, will work to fight those corporations to change the laws so that we are not targets of these predatory banks and financial institutions. But also we are offering free legal assistance to the community so that we can be educated. So if you have church members who need to understand more about housing laws and how they can retain their homes, send them to ACE, because those are the services that we offer people to make sure that they don't become targets.
Thank you, Carol. Lynette?
I appreciate the nuance in this conversation. And I think it comes largely from some of the efforts that the council has undertaken in recent years to increase tenant protections, to increase revenues for homelessness, without taking time to really consider the impact on legacy homeowners, particularly African-American homeowners. This has been a community that I have sought to protect and to raise their issues, and for which I've been often vilified as not being for tenants, as we try to nuance and find the ways that we don't add to the pressures that are on our seniors as they've aged in their homes. There have been numerous things that we've done to help mitigate that. With each of the property taxes, the parcel taxes that have gone forward, I have fought for low-income senior exemptions. We need to do more. We've made those exemptions proactive. When we increased the cost of garbage, we made sure that we use CDBG to offset those costs. Because just because somebody says your house is worth $1 million doesn't mean that you have those resources, or that you're rich, or that you should be vilified. In fact, the city should be doing more to make sure that we have nuanced and sensitive, particularly race-based sensitivities around this, if we're going to keep Oakland the special place it was for ownership. And that's what we've been. We were a place where Blacks could own. And I think that's an important one to look at.
Thank you, Lynette. We'll move to question 3.
Who is this in here?
Maisha, your Zoom has been compromised. It's been hacked.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's log off.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.